And with that, I will call to order this meeting of the Greenfield Conservation Commission at 6:30 p.m., February 11th. This meeting is being recorded by the Conservation Commission. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson at this time. Let's do our roll call. On Zoom, we have Emily.
Hi.
Hi. Kristen.
Hi.
And then here in the John Zahn Center, we have myself, Elizabeth Garofalo,
Erica.
and
Jessica, the agent.
thank you. All right. Good to see you again. All right, so first thing up, approval of minutes from January 28th meeting. Does anybody have any comments, questions, concerns about the meetings from our last, or the minutes from our last meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Can I get
I'll
a,
second that, although I'm reviewing them right now.
I'll give you a minute to look over them real quick. Then-
I'm not seeing anything really.
Great. So if there are no further comments around the minutes, let's go ahead and vote since we already have a motion and a second. Emily, I'll start with you.
Aye.
Kristen?
Aye.
Erica?
Aye.
I'm also an aye. Minutes have been approved. Moving right along. We have, excuse me, our first public hearing, which was continued from January 14th, 2025, notice of intent, maintenance of roadways and drainage systems on I-91, routes 2, 5, and 10, DEP number 168-0363. The Massachusetts Department of Transportation Mass DOT project proposes routine maintenance of existing roadways, including widening less than a single lane, adding shoulders, correcting substandard intersections, improving existing drainage systems, and repaving. Do we have any folks planning to?
Nobody is coming tonight to discuss it. It's mainly just the vote.
Okay.
And I have a list of things that I want to kind of methodically go through
Perfect.
with you all.
Perfect.
So let me just bring it up.
Mhm.
Let's see. Okay. So I will share my screen. Try to share my screen. Why? Here we go. Okay, share. Okay, so these are the draft conditions that everybody should be somewhat familiar with by now. Can everyone hear me? Because I'm kind of my mic. Okay. I incorporated the feedback from Mark that we got last meeting, specifically about widening the road and also the emergency repairs. And then I received some feedback from commission members individually that I incorporated. So mainly, we're going to talk about a few feedback items that were a little more open-ended. And then also we need to decide, or you guys need to decide on the specific width that you're okay with for widening the road. So that's kind of an overview, but let's just scroll down to the conditions, and we'll start with number 6. This, Elizabeth, you had some thoughts about an inspection protocol slash schedule. So it says work shall be halted on the site if an agent of the commission or DEP determines that any work is not in compliance with the order of conditions. So did you want to elaborate on what you thought?
Yeah, so I guess my, excuse me, my concern around this is that because it is the first of its nature for us specifically, and I think for the state in general, having some sort of guidelines around, sort of checking in on the site itself to ensure that these conditions are being adhered to. And it was this particular bullet point that made me think of that because if I think you're going to go and check and you think Erica's going to go and check, then eventually we wind up in a place where nobody has really sort of had any oversight for the projects. And I think it could be helpful to have, at least for the first go round, some sort of framework for having some eyes on the project to ensure that the orders of conditions are being met.
Okay. So would that be in the order of conditions or just something that we agree to internally? Like I go and check within, 3 weeks of them submitting like the request or within 1 week of them starting activity or something?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't think it has, I don't think it has to be included in the
Order of conditions?
Right.
Okay.
Do any of the other commission have thoughts or comments around that?
My thought is that usually there's some boilerplate in just the general conditions. So these are the special conditions, right? So usually there's something in the general conditions that say like, the commission has a right to enter the site at any time. If work is not completed in compliance with this order, work shall cease immediately or something. Is there can you pull up the general conditions and see if that is like a duplicate? I don't care if it is, but I mean, just curious.
I don't have a boilerplate like handy right now,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately, because I don't have access to like my work folder. This is, unless you guys have it saved in the G drive somewhere.
Or if you have a recent one with just the boilerplate, I could pull that up.
Yeah. We could go to 208 Mohawk because we know that. Let's see. Order of condition. See. Maybe. Yeah, so these are the general conditions right here.
Oh, that's the same comment from the general. Okay, so is that number 3? That's our boilerplate?
Yes.
So it's already in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I probably did that where I copied and pasted things that I felt like were missing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that is a good comment to have in the boilerplate for every project.
Okay. So basically, when we send conditions, we send the special conditions and then we send all of these too.
Yeah, we usually have a boilerplate for general conditions. And then if there's anything on top of that that's special to that project, we include special conditions that
Okay.
are pretty specific to the project. But these are like generally for all projects.
Okay. Yeah, because the way this is organized, it shows special conditions under the ordinance.
Oh,
And
I
then it
see.
says general conditions under Wetlands Protection Act. So then there's really no area that it says special conditions.
Or general conditions, you mean?
No. Well, what I thought you were saying was that there's special conditions to the project, and then there's just general boilerplate.
Yeah.
And so for this is the Aldi.
Oh, okay.
So it has special conditions for the wetlands ordinance. Oh, slash Wetlands Protection Act. Okay.
Erica,
Okay, so-
you probably remember, I'm always asking about our boilerplate. I cannot remember what our boilerplate includes. And I feel like we're always talking about special conditions, but I can never remember what the boilerplate general conditions state. And I wonder if maybe it would make sense for us to have like a standalone copy of those on the G
Yeah.
drive so that I could always, instead of asking Erica.
That's what I was looking to see if we have one, but I don't see it.
I can add that this week in a logical place that
Like
I will-
administrative documents.
Yeah,
Maybe it's under administrative.
I'm seeing it.
Yeah, because I mean, the way you've described it, this does seem like these are the boilerplate starting under general conditions under the Wetland Protection Act. And that's a lot of boilerplate. It goes to the 75, I think.
That sounds about, I think that sounds about right? And then we usually have like, 5, 10 on top of that. Of specific ones.
Is that how all towns do it? Like that?
Yeah. And some towns break them out. They'll be like your boilerplate general conditions, and then they'll have special conditions under the Wetlands Protection. Like Amherst does 2 special conditions, one for the Wetlands Protection Act and one for their bylaw. And
Okay.
they're really almost always duplicates, but sometimes there's 1 or 2 different ones in the bylaw ones. But I don't know if we need to create that much more work for us or if we do that anyways. But usually there's just your boilerplate standard 27 general conditions, and then we add special ones. And I just can never remember what those general conditions are.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me
Maybe
get
under-
back to. So then that will be a bit redundant.
If it's in there, yeah, I don't know. If it is,
Does it
if it's not,
matter?
it's worth including, I think.
Does it matter if we have it in both? It doesn't matter, right? It's just like
I don't
being
think so. Nope.
covering all our bases.
Right. And the boilerplate ones or the baseline ones are already included in the bundled NOI anyway, right?
I don't know why.
Well, when we issue the order of conditions, we'll have the one we're voting on tonight, and then we'll have the boilerplate that will be attached.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that's 6. 11. Oh, this, Elizabeth, you wanted to discuss because you were concerned about it.
Yeah.
It says this order shall apply to every successor. I think this is also from the boilerplate.
Okay.
I don't
It
know.
should be. If it's not, it should be going forward.
This
all of our
order,
boilerplate.
yeah, I'll just read it. Just
Yeah, please, thank
this
you.
order shall apply to every successor in interest of the properties described in the notice of intent. In the event that this land changes ownership before or during the 5 years that the permit is valid, the current owner shall notify the new owner of this order by registered mail prior to the transfer of ownership and shall forward proof of this notification to the commission. Actually, this does seem kind of specific to the project because it's 5 years. So I think this seems unlikely because it's owned by Mass DOT, right? But it's just saying that the order of conditions will stay with the property if it were to be sold.
Okay.
That's my understanding of that, anyway.
I guess my concern had been but your point about it being the DOT property is relevant here. But so I guess my concern had been if the property was sold, would the new owners then also be able to use the bundled NOI rather than submitting their own? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Rather than having their own permitting process.
I think this is only relevant to the state, right? I mean, I think only the Bengal NOI is only for the state.
Right. So Well, this would mean, that is what it would mean. So the order of conditions would be attached to the property. So if someone were to buy the property, then they
Then-
could do what the bundled NOI is saying.
The properties might not be owned by the state. Like if it's a culvert going under a road, then part of the property affected might be private property, not just.
Yeah, so that it said that the bundled NOI is for all Mass DOT, like what SHLO or whatever the acronym is, and easements, like, which I think is what you're referring to, is when there's an easement. So yeah, they might not necessarily own it, but they would apply this bundled NOI to,
But only to
anything they're
the
using an
Mass
easement.
DOT's activities.
Mhm.
I guess my concern had been that somebody who acquired a piece of property that this particularly applied to would then be able to sort of wiggle around rather than going through the proper channels as a like private landowner.
I think that is what, I think it is kind of implying that, because there was another example that I've just come across of people that are like going to apply for a permit, and it's on a piece of property that already had a permit for a project, and then the project never happened. And then they sold the property, but now the new owners have to close out the NOI permit because it's still active, it's still a cloud on there. So I think they could have bought the property and continued with the project that was already permitted.
Without actually having to come in to talk to us to make sure that they know the things that they need to do in order to comply to the order of conditions.
Well, yeah, this is a
Yeah,
good
see-
question.
Well, I mean, private property, it's usually only 3 years, so it's the chance of it getting approved and then getting sold before, but 5 years, yeah, it could conceivably come up, but I thought
I mean,
because
would
it's
you
about
want it-
DOT, it would only be DOT, but
Yeah, would you want to change the verbiage so it said that it only applies to the current applicant and not?
I personally would feel more comfortable with that. Does the rest of the commission feel similarly, or am I being particularly persnickety?
I feel like there should be some standard language in our boilerplate general conditions that addresses this issue. And if we need an example, I can come up with one from another town that I'm routinely looking at. I'm desperately trying to find some GCs somewhere in our folder, and I'm not finding anything. And it's such a difficult folder to navigate.
A lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, and like I can only go by project, so I'm trying to like sort by date, but I keep pulling up RDAs instead of NOIs. And I don't know if general conditions are different, but I mean, that's something I'm used to seeing in GCs, so there has to be language that's just easy to mimic. Like I'll pull up an Amherst one really quick offline.
Still handy?
No, I like navigated out of it because I had to get back to this.
I feel like the language,
But I could
Yeah, where
direct
do you want me
you.
to be here?
Yep, there, and then go, children. Right.
Sorry. Yeah, you gotta actually.
Project. Oh, yours is different than mine. This is just the one that why is it 208 there?
Maybe I can, what is it, 208 Mohawk?
Oh, there you go, yeah. Yeah, so click on that. And then 20, yeah. And then OOC.
Okay.
And,
Special,
yeah, it was special.
okay. Do you want me to share this and then you can,
oh, here's a,
all right. Give me a second here while I figure out which is which.
While you're pulling that up, Liz, so I'm looking at a Amherst general condition. This is from an order that was issued in
Oh, there it is. Okay.
2021, so it's not recent. But it says the agent or members of the Conservation Commission and the Department of Environmental Protection shall have the right to enter and inspect the area subject to this order at reasonable hours to evaluate compliance with the conditions stated in this order and may require the submittal of any data deemed necessary by the Conservation Commission or the department for that evaluation. So that's kind of similar to number 6, and that's just in a boilerplate. So we probably have that, but can't confirm that. And then 16, and this one says, the order of conditions shall apply to any successor in interest or successor in control of the property subject to this order and to any contract or other person performing work conditioned by this order. And again, that's in a boilerplate, general condition.
Where did you,
This is
find
from
that?
another town, but
Okay,
so I can't confirm that we have that in ours, but that's pretty standard boilerplate language for other towns in our area. So if we don't have that in our boilerplate, we should have both of those. Those
This
were
is
good
our-
catches.
control find.
Yes.
Christian, I like that
Right.
language better than the one presently in ours because in the standing order of conditions, because it's more generic and it's broader. The way it appears now, it's so specific. It sounds like you're talking about one landowner, whereas this is for many, many, many different projects over the 5 years. So it
Yeah.
just seems very
Um,
misleading the way that it's
seems like-
worded currently.
Maybe likes this other one better anyway. Let's see.
Ooh,
Okay, so can
that's
we,
special still.
I know that there's like rules around sharing stuff in the chat, but if you shared it in the chat and then I cut and pasted it onto the shared
So we can see it.
document, would that?
Yeah, I don't think that's an issue. I mean, I know technically because this is a public meeting, we don't want to post anything in a chat that's not publicly available, but this is a publicly available document, so I'm technically allowed to share this.
Okay.
Um,
Aren't these our boilerplate? Even though it says special.
so that's one, and then the other one was pretty identical. And I mean, again, sorry, that's really tiny, huh?
Yeah.
These made-
I was thinking like you could highlight it and control C.
Yeah, I just control pasted. Yeah, it's a recorded copy, but I'll just type it.
What do you mean it's a recorded?
So it's a scanned copy.
Oh, so you can't. Okay. I mean, I could just like if you want to screenshot it, I could download it and then if we all, if you guys agree on the verbiage, I could update it tomorrow.
It may already even be in there. I wish we could pull up our generals. I feel like I'm literally always asking about our GCs, so I should have a copy of them on my computer because I'm bothering the rest of the commissioners always asking about it.
So this order of conditions shall apply to any successor in interest or successor in control of the property subject to this order and to any contractor or their person performing work conditioned by this order. Okay, so everybody likes that verbiage better?
I'm happy with that, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, I might have forgotten the word and. This order of conditions shall apply to any successor in interest or successor in control of the property subject to this order and to any contractor. Did I put that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, great. Okay,
Thank you.
moving on. 20 okay, should I share my screen again? I'm so spoiled with multiple screens. Here we go.
I know. It's so nice.
Okay, here we go. So I'm scrolling to 20. 20 is the section on reporting.
Okay.
And I updated it from last week because I revisited Billy's notes and she said it is not like feasible to track trash removal, but that she could track to trash removal from like roadside buffer zones, all that, but that it appeared she could track debris removal from wetlands. So I added it to reporting, and then that in the original version, it talked about trash removal from buffer zone as part of buffer zone improvements, which she said she could not do, but she could track any changes to impervious to vegetated surfaces where native seeding was applied. So I added that too. And then I also added summary of culvert cleaning, including photos documenting before and after, because I found those kind of deep in these conditions and it wasn't listed in the reporting section. So I just added those. So I just wanted to kind of bring y'all's attention to that.
Yeah, that's super important. Yeah, the culvert cleaning is sort of a big one, so. Did Billy have any comments on the biannual reporting? Because that was a Mark Stinson recommendation. I had originally suggested annual, and he said, why don't you start with biannual and see how they do, and you can always reduce it after that.
Yeah, my recollection of it was that it was okay.
Okay.
And I think that the understanding was that this first year was going to be
Okay.
like the trial year, like, and that after that we could readjust what we felt was necessary based on how the year went.
It does say that somewhere, doesn't it?
It does, yes, it's somewhere.
I think I remember seeing it somewhere.
Yeah, and that we would like reevaluate.
Okay.
So that's reporting. Let's see, 21. For checking erosion controls, it says a minimum of once a week and after rain events. Do we want to specify a rainfall amount that we want them to like double check their erosion controls?
Quarter inch within 24 hours.
A 1/4 inch in 24 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, kind of standard.
After all
That's
rain
our-
events, a 1/4, do I spell that? Inch in a 24-hour period, like
Or
that?
more.
Or more?
Yeah.
1/4 inch or more.
Yeah, quarter inch or more within a 24-hour period. So like if there's going to be, I don't know, they can figure out how often that is, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. That's
Well,
21.
my question went right
Yeah.
with that about the, put on the side there,
Oh,
about covering stockpiles. Were we gonna say anything
Oh,
about
yeah,
that?
oh, sorry, I'm like,
I know, sorry, I did it like,
like
I did
so
it
many
a couple hours
places I'm
ago, I'm
looking.
like,
Yeah, so anything about covering stockpiles, especially if rain is predicted. I don't see anything in there about that. Phase
for
work
some
to
of our
minimize
things we've had,
soil placement
you know,
of erosion
With
controls.
all these-
with all these, usually, it seems like usually DOT doesn't have like long projects where they have that, but if they happen to,
It seems like it would be, in the case of that thing that occurring, it would be good to have that in there because we've
Yeah.
required it of others.
Um,
Can you pull good command F from yours?
yeah, so
is it, I don't remember if it's, if they're covered, if they're just overnight at all, or if they're covered only if there's a rain event, or. Kristen, do you remember?
No, I can't remember. I'm trying to dig something up really quick.
Cover.
what kind of verbiage would I
Just like any stockpile.
like
rain-
covering of stock
Seeding
piles
disturbed areas will be covered with erosion control. Noting, yeah, here, you wanna?
Oh my gosh, it's so small.
Nice.
Right.
Here, wait, let's do this.
Yeah, you can do that too. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
can't.
I feel the same
There
way
we
in the
go.
opposite direction.
Yeah. Subsequent to seeding, disturbed areas will
Yes.
be down there. All stockpiles of soil existing for more than 1 day shall be surrounded by a row of entrenched silt fence and shall be covered or otherwise suitably stabilized. So there is,
From the,
Alden.
here, wait, maybe then we could delete that and then add it to this exposed, well, that could just be regular exposed soil, not piles.
right, this is specific to stockpiles.
Okay.
You know, I
Can you
can.
cut,
now
can you
that
cut that
just-
one?
Yeah.
All-
All stockpiles of soil existing for more than 1 day
Well, existing for more than 1 day.
shall be surrounded by a row of entrenched silt
Bed by a row of entrenched silt
fence and shall be covered
shall be covered
or otherwise suitably stabilized.
suitably stabilized. Oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
that's the end of that one.
okay. Great. Check. Okay. Next. 23.
Emily's got a comment, or what? Emily's got a comment there.
Oh. Is the standard.
14.
What are we
14 day.
talking about?
Yeah, that's pretty standard with the SWIP. But we can change it if we wanted to. We could extend it.
Yeah, I believe that's from Kristen's version, so.
Mhm.
And I probably, the chances that they would need a SWIP are probably pretty small because that would only be required for an acre or more of disturbance. I think anything that's going to be an acre or more of disturbance would require a separate NOI.
It would, yeah, everything has to be under an acre.
So we can change this, like let's assume this is road shoulders, like let's think Mass DOT property, right? So it's road shoulders is 14 days. Unfair? I don't know. That's a question for the commission, I think.
That's a good example. I was trying to think of what this would be relevant to, because if it's like an open, yeah, I guess if I was thinking of like if it's digging for a culvert or something like that, like they might be working for a longer time than that, so you wouldn't want something growing in there. So I guess maybe make it clear that it's it's not inactive work or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if they were digging a new culvert, they would have to come before us for a new permit. This doesn't cover
Yeah,
all
that's
new
true.
work. I was thinking this would cover like access roads. I mean, first of all, it's only in jurisdiction. Access roads or like road shoulders. I don't know. What else? Do we get a map with their NOI of what their properties are? I don't think we did.
We're doing
They,
like a,
they provided some maps in the NOI. I believe some of them just, yeah, were in relation to the jurisdictional areas. Do you want me to bring that up?
No, I'm trying to pull it up to see if I have it too, but I don't know. That's the kind of stuff that I was thinking of. And then of course they would be cleaning out existing culverts, but not putting in new culverts. So
Okay.
where would they have exposed soil if they were going to widen a road? Maybe we should come back to that one. I don't know.
Yeah, they said that they would be clearing vegetation if it messed with sight lines and bridge maintenance. Maybe that would
But-
have disturbed soil from if they had to remove invasives. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no minimum polygon size for that. So like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm starting to doubt that comment now. Sorry, guys.
I think it's a good precaution to take. I'm just trying to think of how it will be relevant. You know, like what should we be more specific about what types of project we're talking about?
Yeah.
Or um, maybe it would be helpful to bring up the map. Why don't you do it just to give us something to look at, if you don't mind, Jessica.
I just see roads on there. Just Mass DOT mainline roads. That's the only thing in there.
Well, that's the.
Then it would just be
because we're
road
only talking
edges.
about 91,
do-
10, and 2,
Too.
Yep.
like along.
In a
the
later
way.
part,
Yeah.
So we're not talking about anything beyond roadways.
Right, right. Yeah.
Major roads, not
In
even
later-
municipal roads, just state roads,
Yeah.
highways.
right.
So do you want me to bring up the map or?
If it's just roads, that's fine. You don't need to.
Okay.
Gosh, I really thought there would be some kind of an access or something, but I guess it's just highways. At least that's all they have in their legend. It just says Mass DOT maintained roads. There's nothing for like access routes or anything like that, right of ways. It's all just Mass DOT roads.
So there are other measures for stabilizing soil in different sections. Should we put this together with those as another, you know, manner of stabilizing the soil? I mean, I guess it is sort of in this section, but let's see.
Yeah, so
Control.
sediment and erosion control procedure. We could just keep kind of going through and then if we see the section
Mhm.
that you're referencing.
No, I might be just thinking about the different parts of this one. I guess I'm just thinking that like putting down seeding usually is part of finishing up the project, right? So what we're saying here is, oh, there's some reason why the soil's going to be disturbed and they're going to keep going for a long period of time. So we're asking them to do something that's growing for a temporary cover, right? And I was just curious if this is sort of typical. Have you seen this, Kristen, in projects? What does it consist of? And then, you know, is this sort of like ramping you up to finishing it later on, but maybe they have something else they need to do?
That's exactly right. So assuming there's some long-term soil stockpile, long-term soil that's exposed, this would be a temporary stabilization measure. Say they're doing work in the winter and, you know, they have a restoration planting plan, but they can't get the restoration plants in because it's January. They'll throw a winter wide ride down or something as temporary stabilizing measure. But I just don't know if this is really relevant.
Yeah, it seems like it'll probably be an edge case. 14 days seemed short to me. That's when I first thought.
Me too. Me too.
But I'm not really sure, you know, what the right length is. But then again, this might not really be super relevant for these properties.
Do we want to keep it in there?
I feel tempted to leave it in there, and then maybe when we do our revision of these, we can just throw it out if we really feel like it's never going to be useful.
Yeah, if we close tonight,
Modify it.
does Billy have it? If we close tonight, is this locked in?
The plan was to vote tonight and then that's that.
Yep.
But you know, we have it in here that we're gonna revisit, I believe in a year to reevaluate if things are not strict enough or too strict or.
Okay, but we can't change any of these conditions after we vote, is my question.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Is that you're correct?
I don't see anything wrong with that paragraph. I just feel like maybe we'll end up wanting to tweak it after having seen it in action, and also it might never really come up. So
Yeah, did Billy have any comment on that?
I could look at her email, but I updated everything
Okay.
that she
Okay.
commented on. But if you want me to look it up right now, I can. It just might take me a minute to find it.
I don't
I
know.
think
I
it's a
just feel
nice
like,
fallback for us to have them expect to have to seed, if there's long-term exposure and it's relevant.
I'll just look real fast and see.
If we are gonna ask them to do something temporary, it still has to be native to the county.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
Mhm.
the native part is discussed
That's just-
earlier.
everything all the time.
Ah,
Yeah, that's,
Well, since it was a temporary, if people would think they could get around it by just putting down anything.
yeah, it just says right.
Mm.
Could make a reference there to the seating policy.
let's go away.
Hmm.
Oh, it doesn't like show me. It's
Yeah, you gotta.
down with it. Okay, here we go. So what is this? H21. I've like moved everything around, so we'll see. Summary, reporting. Sediment and erosion. I think it's further. Right now. Here we go. I'm not seeing it right now. There's been like so many iterations of this that.
well, do you want to just come back to it if we have to? Because we have a lot more to go through.
Yeah.
We're halfway through the document here.
Let's see. So. 20, where are we? Yeah, so this beast. When I was looking at the BNOI for the lawn and landscape maintenance, for this specific condition, and then I looked at the BNOI, it actually doesn't talk about like lawn mowing or pruning or doing any landscaping as part of their operation and maintenance. And, or fertilizer or anything. It's really just talking about, sight lines and safety for bridge inspections. So I didn't know if we wanted to just get rid of like this,
That might be
or
part-
if this was important.
What's that?
I was gonna say, that might be part of just their general boilerplates, like,
Mhm.
Part of,
like DOTs or, I know the town has like certain boilerplates and like just
Uh-huh.
lawn mowing is.
it's just in there. Okay.
But but maybe we need it here, I don't know.
Yeah, because again, coming back to the fact that we're talking about 91 2, 5, and 10,
Uh-huh.
what mowing, lawn mowing specifically are they doing, for example, or pruning are they doing other than the light sign of, line, thank you, line of sight?
Is there a
Yeah.
median strip in that section of the highway?
Right, so
Oh, yeah,
like,
okay,
so I
yeah.
guess mowing is line of sight stuff,
I was
huh?
gonna
Because
say,
if it
what about
gets
the-
really high.
Mhm.
The rotary and stuff, or?
Yeah, yep, that's
Yeah.
true, that's
Okay.
true.
All right, well, then this I will leave, but there was this little section about for tree work conducted under the supervision of a certified arborist. And there's another part in the conditions that references tree pruning. And so I was wondering if you always want a certified arborist.
Would think the size of the tree?
And what they're doing, I mean, if they're gonna,
Yeah.
do they have to take it down, or do they just have to cut a couple limbs off?
Yeah, I mean, are we talking about a crab apple or are we talking about a giant oak?
Yeah, I
Because if
don't-
we're talking about a big oak, then the certified arborist, but if we're talking about like a 4-foot crab apple that just needs some upkeep, then
How would you,
differentiate that?
yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Good question. Do we care if they bring in a certified? I mean, do we care if they don't? Or what? Hang on a second. Are we concerned about them bringing in a certified arborist if, for example, it is the 4-foot crabapple? Like, is it a problem if they bring in a certified arborist for something that arguably isn't necessarily requiring one?
I mean, I mean, we aren't paying for it, right? So. So, they want to bring in an arborist for a crab apple tree.
I mean, this category is all for, this is category 1. So this means they don't
Yeah.
have to come before us. So it kind of doesn't matter. We're just outlining what's exempt.
Gotcha.
So if it's under category 2, which requires administrative approval or comes before the commission, or category 3, it's definitely coming before the commission, then we can maybe require that, but can we even
Okay, so you're
require that if
saying-
it's exempt?
So you're saying no to the arborist in category 1?
Well, we're saying it doesn't require prior notice, so it's just normal maintenance.
Yeah, and then the tree pruning is also category 1.
Or maybe we could change the words slightly to say, maybe the certified arborist doesn't have to be on site, but can approve of the work or something. Under the approval of, or something, instead of under the supervision of. And then we can make that
Okay.
supervision when we get to categories 2 and 3 if we want. But a lot of what's in category 1 is technically like mostly exempt. We're just sort of outlining it so it's really clear, I think.
Okay. Safety pruning of trees and limbs along roadways and paths for safety reasons and to preserve sightlines. Should we- Yeah, that. Tree pruning plans? What should? To be. That sound good? Tree pruning to be conducted under the approval of a certified arborist? This is all still category 1, but just to be consistent?
Yep.
Okay. 27. Yeah, I was just going back through and noticed
Mm.
there was stuff that didn't get deleted that should have.
Mhm.
So I wanted to let you guys know, because this is just something that Billy said was not feasible. And so I was going to delete it, but I didn't want to delete it without letting you guys know that that was not actually going to be included. Do you need me to read it too?
Yes, please.
Mass DOT shall provide the Greenfield Conservation Commission with each iteration of updated citywide maps showing the location of these facilities for the storm water structure cleaning. This is still the category 1, and
Gotcha.
yeah, so I was deleting that. And then the end of it said this does not include work in jurisdictional areas, but it does. In the bundled NOI, it says stormwater structure cleaning may occur within buffer zone, riverfront area, or BLSF, and the equipment will not operate in bordering vegetative wetlands.
They have stormwater facilities in resource areas.
Stormwater structure cleaning, it was in the bundled NOI, so I just kind of copied what they wrote.
That's really surprising to me that there would be like a detention basin in riverfront. But I guess they do get a lot of exemptions because we can't go anywhere without Route 91. And they have to manage stormwater. And the road's been there hundreds of years.
Okay. Then let's see, that's 27. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Okay. 29 we did. 45.
It was just
Wait,
a
we
typo.
passed a comment by Erica.
It was just a typo.
Oh, long
I think, I mean, I think he's. I think that's what I
long
mean.
as, oh, that it just disappeared when I did that. Okay. 45. Widening of roadways.
Mm.
Okay.
All right, so I updated the verbiage and I just, as a placeholder, wrote shall not exceed 4 feet on either side of the corresponding road, like the road that we're discussing. And then roads that have been widened under this bundled NOI have a one-time approval. Any additional widening that needs to occur must be requested under a new NOI. Expansion of existing roadways within jurisdictional areas greater than 8 feet in width, 4 feet on either side, does not fall under routine operation and maintenance and will require a new NOI.
Can you remind me again what they were requesting with the width? They said up to a
They
single
said-
lane, so
They
that's
said
8
up,
feet?
yeah, basically less than it. Oh, sorry. Can you say what you were saying again? Can you repeat
Well,
yourself?
I forget. They were saying they wanted permission to expand up to the width of a single lane, which would be 16 feet, and that would be 8 feet on either side.
The internet says Mass DOT typical lane is 10 to 12 feet wide. So up to a single lane would be 10, I think 10 to 12 feet. So I just said 4, but to change it, determine like based on what you guys are saying.
Well, wasn't that one of Mark's comments was, I don't think you should just leave it open-ended,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
less than a.
Yeah, Mark
lane is
said
too big.
that if we were uncomfortable with like a little less than a lane, then we should specify what feet we're okay with.
I like those.
Yeah, I was gonna
personally.
say, I think like
Yeah.
4 feet is certainly, I mean, that's enough room for like a bike lane if they wanted to put a bike lane in, but.
Sure.
And again, Billy saw this.
No, Billy has not seen this. This is just like the hot off the press version.
Okay.
Billy saw what I came to the last meeting with.
I like this. I didn't like a blanket approval to expand a road up to a single lane without, in jurisdiction, without review.
I agree. I think this is well worded.
Yeah, and so it's like we're not saying they can't do it. They just need to submit like a new request if they want to widen it more than that.
Yep.
Because it's like there's stormwater considerations, there's engineering involved. It's not maintenance.
Right.
Cool.
All right.
So that's 45. Category 4, the description, I just updated it to be more comprehensive with the projects requiring new engineering plans in general will require a new NOI. And then finally, updated 47 based on our discussion with Mark last week, and I'll read it. Emergency storm repairs, drainage systems. Emergency repairs for drainage system failures requiring less than 100 square feet of permanent disturbance to resource areas of BLSF and RFA, or less than 25 linear feet of bank, may be approved by the commission upon review. If the repairs fall in BVW and require 100 square feet or less, a wetland replication plan is required to achieve no net loss. Mass DOT environmental representatives to provide oversight and reporting under this order of conditions. Oh, and then Emily.
I just had a question there. I was wondering whether that second part was still about the portion that's less than 100 feet, or if this was a further condition upon if it's more than 100 feet. I'm just not sure how to interpret it, so let me know what's intended.
If the repairs fall. I think what I was trying to get across was that 100 square feet or less would be approved under this BNOI, but the wetland replication plan is required to achieve no net loss.
Oh, I see.
No net
So the
loss,
distinction is that it's in BVW,
yeah,
whereas the first part is not. Is that correct?
yeah. So the
Four different areas.
Yeah, the 100 square feet is for BLSF and RFA, the 25 linear feet is for bank, and then the next line is BVW, which is 100 square feet or less.
Gotcha.
So that's just me like pulling from the recording of what we spoke about with Mark. So I wanted to see if I got that, if that was accurate. Is that what you guys wanted?
Yeah, I think, um, yeah, that sounds good.
Did they specifically state in the NOI? They said emergency storm repairs would consist of repairs for embankment washouts resulting from large precipitation events and would include both general embankment washouts and washouts related to failures within drainage systems. Installation of riprap will be limited to less than 100 square feet. For washouts affecting bank, work will be limited to less than 25 linear feet. But they don't say what resource area, so we're saying that's okay as long as there's a replication area if it's in BBW.
I'm sorry, are you saying they don't mention BVW? Is that what
They
you're
don't
saying?
mention any resource area. They just say 25 linear feet of bank, but they say less than 100 square feet
Right,
of
right,
riprap
yes.
within anywhere else. So it's like
Yeah.
BLSF or riverfront. But I think what we're saying is we did give them what they want. We're just asking for replication if it's in BVW.
Yes, that's exactly it. Because
gotcha.
that's what kind of the conversation with Mark, because he was like, I don't remember there being BVW. And then when I looked at the BNOI, it actually didn't specify. So I figured we should specify in the order.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Good catch.
You might just want to add, Mass DOT environmental representatives are to provide oversight, just so it's grammatical there. Yeah.
All right. So we like?
We like.
That's all my notes. That's everything.
That's
Right
the
on.
end? But we've been doing this for so long. I feel sort of married to it now.
Right.
No, probably won't shed a tear.
Yeah, I'm not gonna ask for additional comments before we go for a vote on this one.
Well, we've had a long
um,
time to opine.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm gonna remove all the highlighting. That's the only changes I'll make.
Okay.
Well, I think, and
Um,
I think there was two, like, just typos at the beginning.
Oh, that I skipped.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, there's still comments on the right.
May be.
That's easy.
May
And
and equals. Cool.
cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
Good job. Good
I
job, team.
know.
Yay. Oh, wait.
Oh.
So, with the description of the scope of the project, I just copied and pasted from the description in the BNOI, but it actually said like including up to a,
Mhm.
so I just changed the
Yeah.
wording, but I didn't know,
This
should I
slice.
say including up to
Up to 4 feet
4 feet, or was it 8?
per side.
I mean, I honestly feel like the purpose of a comprehensive or bundled NOI is for routine operation and maintenance. And so, you know, I think it's worth mentioning that up front, but like really this is for operation and maintenance.
Um, okay. Well, it does kind of, it talks about routine maintenance.
And like correcting substandard intersections sounds like a kind of a big construction project. Like, did we really talk about that in the orders? Like, I thought the idea was if it's going to require standalone engineering, that really kind of wouldn't fall under routine O&M.
Yeah, I wonder what she actually means by substandard, because in the bundled NOI, it doesn't talk about like re-engineering intersections.
Yeah, maybe we should take that out because we don't have any orders that address that, do we?
Any
Or
of
even
the
really adding
conditions.
shoulders. It's mostly just like routine maintenance covers it all. And then, I mean, even the improving existing drainage systems, that's not really right either. It's just removing accumulated sediment from existing systems.
Yeah,
So-
Yeah.
So it'd be maintaining existing drainage systems.
Yeah, it's just like routine O&M
Okay,
and then the widening.
maintaining. Maintenance of existing roadways. I think adding shoulders though is in the bundled NOI. Why won't this thing move? Okay, I want to go back to the bundled NOI to like, oh, wait,
I
okay.
literally just closed it because I thought we were done. Sorry.
Okay. Ah,
Oh, I think this is boilerplate, because I just looked it up online and I saw that exact language. So that might be why
what is boilerplate?
That opening.
what we're reading here. I'm looking at a checklist for redevelopment projects, and it says redevelopment is defined to include maintenance and improvement of existing roadways, including widening less than a single lane, adding shoulders, correcting substandard intersections, improving existing drainage systems, and repaving, which is exactly what we have,
Sounds
right?
familiar.
Yeah, and I don't think that's not a definition under the Wetlands Protection Act. That's,
This is from the Massachusetts Stormwater Handbook.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, so here under category 1, this is in the bundled NOI, it says roadway maintenance. Roadway maintenance will consist of milling and resurfacing the roadway, sidewalk repairs, and curb repair. Roadway maintenance projects under the OOC would be limited to those that do not widen the roadway surface and do not require changes to the drainage system. No full-depth roadway reconstruction will be included in category 1. So it's just really repairing the curb.
Yep.
Okay. So we could say
I mean,
repairing
we can make it more,
curb.
I mean, or keep
Right.
it super vague and just say routine operation and maintenance covered
Okay,
under this
proposes
order.
routine. All right, this is gonna really test my spelling, guys. Operation and maintenance of existing roadways. So you think just take out
Yeah.
that?
Or keep the highlighted part, but like don't be too specific with the repairing curb, correcting substandard intersections. That rest of that sentence can probably.
Yeah, because that
Like
was all
just-
just like cut and paste.
Yeah, and it doesn't really pertain to the regulations that we're in charge of implementing compliance with.
So you think just do that?
That's my opinion. I'm,
Okay.
not the only one here, but that's my opinion.
I'm okay with that.
Okay,
Who gets the honor of making the motion? I feel like Kristen, you had the most
Yeah.
skin in this game, so
Oh,
you get to,
God.
you get to do it.
All right, I will. Oh, shoot, I gotta get the DEP number.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I will motion to approve the notice of intent for the routine operation and maintenance of roadways and drainage systems on I-91 routes 2, 5, and 10, which is DEP file 1680363, including the general and special conditions that we discussed this evening and in prior meetings.
second,
All right. Let's vote.
before we change your mind. right?
Emily, hurry.
Aye.
Kristen,
Aye.
Erica,
Aye.
I am also an I. All right. That was well done.
okay,
That was a lot of work. That was a lot of work.
that was a lot of work.
Good job, everybody. Thank you so much, Jessica.
All
Do I have
right.
to hit save or can I just close it? No,
You
will
know,
it?
it's,
What? What?
you can, it's
It will
yeah,
stay,
fine.
okay.
I would just,
I just
It's
don't
safe
want to
just to be
ruin
sure.
things. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so our next, up next, we have public meeting continued from January 28th, 2025. Request for determination of applicability, construction of 2 prefabricated metal buildings and parking at 001 Adams Road, map R05, lot 28A. The proposed work consists of the construction of 2 prefabricated buildings with slab on grade foundation and parking for 12 cars. The work will be separated in 2 phases, with the second building comprising phase 2 as an addition and only constructed should phase 1 prove financially successful. Did I get that? I feel like I blurred there for a minute.
You got it. Yeah. So, if you guys recall, the applicant came in 2 meetings ago and was really just exploring the possibility of embarking on this project and wanted to see, what it might entail on that particular parcel. And then last meeting, Mark said, regardless of what they want, you could vote and issue a determination. And so that's basically where we're at. Do you need any recap other than that?
but did you speak to them at all this week or?
I updated them after last meeting, but I haven't heard back.
I mean, they didn't seem like they were really ready to go anywhere with this. I mean,
That was the vibe I got too.
they
But,
didn't own the property yet, so.
right,
Yeah, it was like, do they even want to buy the property?
Right.
Or is it going to be too much of a headache?
Yeah.
but we can give them the information that we've decided that this is in fact positive determination.
Because they would have to file an NOI.
Right.
Yeah. it
Oh,
was-
right, because they didn't pull out their application, did they?
No, they did not, and it is in Riverfront
Right.
for the Greenfield ordinance. And they'd have to cut down a significant amount of trees.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty vegetated, and there was a briar patch and all
Mhm.
kinds of stuff. I remember correctly. I'm just trying to find the RDA. Negative, positive. We decided positive, right?
Yeah, positive's the
Think
bad
so.
one, negative's the
Yeah.
good one.
Right, right.
Right.
Which always scares, I think, always think it always scares the
Yeah.
people when they come before me.
What is
Negative.
negative?
No, that's really.
I know, that means
That's the
you're
good
good.
part,
Go
really.
forth in peace.
So I'm just looking at my little cheat sheet here. Motion to make a positive determination that the area described on the referenced plans is an area subject to protection under the act. Removing, filling, dredging, and or altering of the area requires filing of a notice of intent. So that's.
Yeah, so an RDA would just basically be saying like, is this project within your jurisdiction? And if it is within jurisdiction, is it an impact? And it sounds like our answer is yes, so that means it's a positive determination. Okay, gotcha.
And
Well, RDAs free. There's no filing fee for them, right? So
Right.
no harm, no foul.
Yeah, and that's kind of why they were doing that. They didn't want to jump right into an NOI.
That makes sense. Yeah, especially if they don't own it.
I'm just trying to decide, do we have to vote?
I was gonna say, was that a motion that you made there when you
That
read
was-
it? Or was,
That's what I'm trying to decide
think we
myself. Okay, so we do. All right, so we do have to make a motion for that. All right. Yes, so motion to identify this as a positive determination for 001 Adams Road, map R05, lot 28A.
Second.
Okay, so we'll vote. Erica,
I,
Kristen,
Aye.
Emily.
Aye.
I am also an aye. All right. Okay, so next up, looks like we've got some new business on here.
Okay. So the new business is it's kind of old business, but in regards to last meeting, 105 Mohawk Trail wanted a extension on their RDA, and we discovered that they actually still have an open NOI. And Mark had said they just needed to submit a request for an invalid certificate of compliance just to close out the NOI. So this is kind of just a housekeeping situation since they have an active RDA for their project.
Was there an application or request filed?
Yes, after last meeting, they submitted Form 8A and just checked off invalid on their form.
Cool. Do they have to get that recorded or no? I'm just curious about the
Yeah,
procedure for that.
because they recorded the order of conditions.
Gotcha.
Now have to submit that. So
Okay.
it's kind of a unique situation that they have the RDA. It's just really like a housekeeping thing from years back.
Right, okay.
so do we need to
So
make a
yeah,
motion
so
or
the
something on
rest,
that? Or-
approve their request for invalid certificate of compliance.
Is that the motion? Second?
Yes, Emily,
Aye.
Kristen,
Aye.
Erica,
Aye.
I'm also an aye. Next, let's see. Possible.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Possible violation at 30 Adams Road, unpermitted
Oh, he's so
clearing.
excited, I thought it was him.
Sorry. We're getting there.
We could always move around business sometimes, like if we
Yeah.
have somebody in person, we could
Why
rearrange.
don't,
Yeah, do you want to go
yeah,
ahead
why
and do
don't
that?
we
Let's do
bump
that.
it? Because,
Um,
yeah, I also didn't put the shortcut, so I gotta figure that out.
Okay, so let's jump to the Lampblack Road, parcel R08-11A-0. Road was cut and excavated down the wooded hillside to the floodplain and riverfront below in order to access the Fall River. This was not a permitted project. Stephen Pritchard was heading the project and is in attendance to discuss erosion control mitigation, installation, and next steps.
Well, Jessica Siegel came out today to check out the site, so curious to hear her input first.
Okay. Okay, let me navigate. I did. I came out and took some photos so I can bring those up. And the main focus of today was to see the water bar installation and additional jute mats that had been laid down. So
Is that Emily I see on the screen?
that's Kristen.
Oh, Kristen.
Yeah.
Hi, Kristen.
So let me share my screen.
I think it was her input that suggested the water
The water
bars.
bars.
Yeah, I think I shared a DCR trail maintenance handbook and it's
Yeah.
really detailed, probably more detailed than you need, but I like that one. I don't know if that was helpful for you or not.
You know what? I will say it was good. The best management practice manual, yeah, it was detailed, but it said if your site doesn't allow the exact installation, you can modify it. So I did modify slightly, but
Okay.
so that's the seeping water.
Yeah, so these again, they get shuffled. So this was halfway, a little more than halfway down. Yeah, this is a water seat that turned up. It's right next to the kind of
Scar.
the scar in the hillside. Okay, so here's looking down, it's better perspective. So yeah, it's kind of right at the base. And then that's the first of 2 water bars that have been installed.
So if I might interject,
Yeah.
in that manual, just to recap what a water bar is for people who don't know the complete definition, it's just a raised barrier of soil or other material laid diagonally across the surface of a road or trail to lead water off the trail to prevent erosion. So Kristen brought up a good point because originally everyone gave input that we should dig a trough along the hillside where it comes up to the path. But she brought up a good point. That's just going to increase the volume of water jetting down to the river flat, creating more erosion. So to cut it diagonally across the path to the natural ravine that's on the left side was the common sense approach. Instead of driving the water uphill, drive it to its natural path that nature was taking before we cut the path. So the other thing we talked about, Jessica, at the site was based on the grade, the placement of the water bars. Well, the guide that they give you, 0 to 2% grade, they said you can space the water bars 250 to 500 feet apart. So it did not apply because this is a much steeper grade. My truck tells grade for off-roading. So my driveway up to the new house, that's an 18% grade. So I feel that it's very similar or steeper. And in that case, the guide says that if it's 21% grade or more, the spacing should be less than 100 feet apart. So it's not specific. So you have to kind of determine where to place it. So because it's winter and you don't really see water flow yet, I like to maintain these 2 first, get them installed properly, all staked and everything. And then when the water starts, when spring melts starts showing up and the snow melts and the water starts moving, we can track on where to put other water bars if necessary. But the main thing is to keep it from all rushing down the path to the river flat to, I mean, it would carry a lot of soil if you let it do that. So,
Yeah, so the jute was staked down with the biodegradable stakes, and then
I
these,
installed wood stakes in the wattles after you
can
left.
see the wood stakes there. And the ground's frozen, so he had like a drill bit that he could drill in and then stake it down so that it was nice and secure. And this is kind of the other half of it. And then this hillside goes down to kind of the northern part of that floodplain. And I believe it's covered in snow, so it's hard to see what's going on. But I believe that was where you had
The jute blanket.
previous meeting
Right.
showed
Yeah.
pictures of the jute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is just another angle. I believe this is the lower one. And this is actually all ice right here, this dark, it's just thick ice.
Yeah, the permafrost is pretty thick. It's 5 to 8 inches thick.
Okay, so yeah, this is the lower one with that thick ice right here. And then that's the upper one, and then that seep is just up there. And that's the second half of the lower one. And then this is
That's the bottom.
the bottom going out to the floodplain area. And we had seen a picture of this the previous week, but you can see that's the straw wattle at the base of the path. I tried to just widen it because you could see the river through the trees. Pictures never really show it as clear. Yeah. So, oh, that's just a picture of the stake used for the jute. There are these green stakes.
Yeah, I got 6-inch and 4-inch. The 6 is to get through that. I mean, the ground, I was telling Jessica that when it was 4 degrees out, I would drill the hole, and by the time I could get the stake in, the drill bit gets it so hot and the ground's so cold that the hole would freeze back up and wouldn't allow you to pound the stake.
There's a close-up of the seep.
Water seepage.
Well, that's 52 degrees year round. So only.
Oh, is that what it is? We were actually talking about it. Is that the
True.
average temperature of water coming out of the ground? 52?
If it's a spring, if it's really a spring, yeah, it's
Yeah.
cold in the
Yeah.
summer and warm in the winter.
I think you're right. Because interestingly enough, I laid the jute rugs or mats. I come back the next day, they were frozen into the ground because water had seeped onto it, which is great because it eliminates the slipperiness of the ice. So it works.
Yeah, so I just took some more pictures of just the where the excavation happened. This is going up the road. So nothing has been installed up on this second half of the road. He's primarily like worked from the bottom up.
Yeah.
So this is just the top. This is this other product he got that's a kind of a hay like mat that you take this plastic cover off and you can roll it down open. But you haven't installed that anywhere. That's just
No.
yeah.
I'm thinking of putting that in some of the scar areas on the side walls. I was telling Jessica that when I started picking up materials, I cannot believe how many companies carry erosion control products. It's a huge business, especially in Massachusetts. But this company recommended it because it's still biodegradable. It's made out of straw. It's 8 foot by 100 foot long. The jute's
Wow.
4 foot by 225 feet. So if I may give some input, Jessica came up with a thought. She said, that I should come up with a defined plan. So my intent is I called my landscape buddy. He owns the company. They've been in business for years, and he's very experienced in erosion control. I couldn't get a hold of him live. But what I'm going to do is put together a defined plan. And I'm going to start out by having him come out to the site and have him give me his recommendations as a consultant as how to attack and restore this back to our natural forest and what to do with the sidewalls. I was talking to Jessica about my contractor offered to do riprap, but it's ugly. I'm not necessarily in total agreement. So by having him come out, I'll start with his input, then I'll put together a plan defined, and I'll send it to Jessica to fine tune it. But in the interim, what I want to do is to give you guys an idea of my time frame and how aggressive I want to get this thing wrapped up before the thaw in the growing season. By the end of February, my plan is to have 200 feet plus of that path from the river flat carpeted with the jute material. And it might include some of the new straw rolls, depending. Some of the people can't get jute until later on in the year, so I'm waiting to get some people to have a delivery. So I want to continue carpeting the path, get that done by the end of February. Then the months of March and April, just from my standpoint, is based on the consultant's input. We're going to do everything possible to install roll material, whether it's hydroseeding the side hills, or maybe a combination of mulch and hydroseeding, or other rock material, and also seeding excessively with indigenous seed. And what I found in that guide that you tipped me off on, Erica, or Kristen, is there's many indigenous grasses that grow rapidly. The favorite by my guy is this Virginia wild rye grass. So, I mean, that's what we would spread everywhere, even on the path itself, because if it gets too tall to walk through, you can weed whack it once a year to keep it in control. But the main thing is it holds the soil in place.
Mhm.
And then, so that's March and April, which takes you into the heavy growing season, which pretty much gets really going in April. So during that time period, depending on what we do on the sides, is to plant trees. And by then, the stock will come into these nursery places like in New Hampshire. My guy gets his stuff from New Hampshire. So we would get all kinds of trees, and Elizabeth, you said 1 for 1. We don't have an exact inventory of what was taken out, but basically there's the eyesore of the scar where the root balls were torn out. I would put a bigger type tree in those, common of the forest, whether it's an oak or a hardwood or maybe pines in some places. And then where we put rock or whatever to hold the sides, I would still create root ball holes and get trees going and saplings, whatever we can get going. And then we'd watch the weather. If you're not getting natural rain, I'd have to water. I'd bring a tank up to the top and gravity fed hoses to keep stuff moist because you want it to take off. And then in the meantime, we'll have the defined plan and, whatever you have to do to come back and review the site, but we're going to stay on top of this.
Sounds great.
I mean, I like carpeting with this. It's fun. It really, it's not hard because you let gravity unroll it. And then you have to stake it. Otherwise, Mother Nature takes it downhill. You have to tack it to the ground. So Jessica brought up a good point earlier. When the snow melts and the ice pack melts, I have to go back and adjust all the stakes because not all of them may be in ground. They might be just resting in ice. So there's a lot to it, but it's not hard. And to speed it up, I think the consultant is important to hire him. I want him to come out, but I'm just going to get a couple friends to help just to speed up the whole installation process. And I might hire my excavator to bring in, I might do some riprap in some of the severe cases where we don't want the sidewalls giving way. So we might have to put some rock material on the sidewalls, and that would require him to bring some equipment. And, you know,
Well, we look forward to the plan. I do want to warn you that riprap in riverfront is considered fill, so think about that.
so it's not a good
After-
idea.
Well, just think about what your when you draft your plan, we can talk about your ideas a little bit more, but
I think part of it too is figuring out where the 200-foot riverfront ends, because that upper part of the trail, I don't think is in riverfront.
doesn't seem like it. It seems like it's far away based on the
Yeah.
samples of photos.
Yeah, I
So kinda
measured the whole
determining-
path. It's a 550-foot path. There is a turn up at the top.
Yeah,
But there's like 450 feet from the straight part down to the river flat.
yeah, so the consultant could give you, their thoughts, and then
There's also maybe wetland too. So there's the riverfront, but then there's like BVW. I don't know if it's in BVW, if the trail impacts are in BVW and riverfront or just riverfront. It's hard to tell from the photos, but it looks kind of wet down at the bottom. And there looked like there was some fill down where it gets level. So I'm not trying to get in the weeds here right now at this point in the conversation because we haven't even seen a restoration plan yet, but I'm just saying that those data would be good to see as part of a restoration plan.
All right, well, that's what I'm gonna work on feverishly. I gotta get a hold of the guy. He called me when I was sitting there. He was at the doctor, so I'm gonna call him in the morning. Get him out to the site, get the defined plan spelled out on paper. But in the meantime, I'll keep carpeting, because he advised that in the beginning, carpet it. Because when it thaws, water's gonna start running.
It'll be good to see how the water behaves too with the erosion controls you have in place, because you could always adjust them
Yes.
as needed.
Yeah, those 2 water bars, I think, will be impactful.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you, guys.
do we, is the plan to have Stephen come back every weeks, or is like how?
I think at this point, the next time we meet, I mean, if you have your plan ready and you want to come in the next time we meet, but I don't think given that we're as far away from growing as we are.
Because the next meeting is February 25th, and if your goal was to have the 200 feet of the trail with the jute down, then I could come out, take photos of that, and if you had a plan by then, you could come, we could talk about the photos and the plan.
I definitely will.
You will? Okay, so let's make, okay. Okay, so next meeting.
Because this guy, he should have all answers on how to address. But you're more interested in your area. What he does up top, you're not necessarily interested in. I should focus on.
I think one of the things that Kristen was saying is that we would need to see some sort of documentation showing whether or not your any of the activity is within the bordering
Riverfront?
wetlands. Kristen,
Or
is
the
that,
riverfront
or
area.
the
Yeah, if it was in riverfront area or BVW, bordering vegetated wetland, like if it's an actual wetland or riverfront, which can be upland, but it's still a jurisdictional resource area, we're gonna look more closely at fill. If it's just buffer zone, we want to prioritize stabilization more than anything, I think, right? But if it's like, a resource area, I don't know. We would have to talk about that. I don't know what the commission's priorities are, whether we want to weigh stabilization over, resource area impacts, because it's kind of already impacted. But I mean, just saying, like, just My recommendation would be to put that in writing and put that in a plan and think about it critically so that we can all hammer through it together and
What's the definition of the resource area? Is that within the blue line or 100 feet outside the blue line that was on that geo?
There's different types of resource areas. So there's the stream, intermittent stream, which I believe is what is at the very base of your trail. The riverfront area is a resource area, so that's the 200 feet. So just by being in that 200 feet with the road, you're in the resource area. And then there's bordering vegetated wetlands, which is next to a stream. So that could be at the base of the road. So I guess the question is, how will we know? Like, does he have to get a wetland scientist? Is that?
I
how will
could go
we
out
know?
there and just look. I mean, I can't GPS it for him, but I can at least like eyeball it, hang a flag, and we can just piece it. You know?
I did where the path touches down at the river plant. I did take a roller measure.
You walked it?
As close to the river as I could. It's over 160 feet to the river straight out. And it's about 160 feet go to the right, because the river has a right hand.
Yeah.
Right in our land.
Mhm.
Because that's where I was gonna fish, because that's the deepest pool. I was just curious how far we are, because I thought, well, if I'm responsible, or if you guys are responsible for that area, which you are, totally, but I think you're also responsible for 200 feet up my path.
Right.
Because that touches the wetlands, so I'm gonna carpet 200 feet up the path. Cause I wanna stop erosion too, I wanna get stuff growing on this path. So I'm excited to get, if it's ryegrass or something, going fast. First couple of weeks, maybe it'll come in by the end of April, big grass grow. And then focus on getting the trees and the sidewalls stuff within your zone first.
Mhm.
And then work up all over the zone. It'll be fun, this guy's already wired, there are tons of trees, great trail home, so. We're really ready.
Great.
So anyway.
Okay.
All right, see you in a couple weeks.
Talk to you soon.
It's fun.
All right.
Take care of you.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Oh,
Yeah, the one that you sounded so, what am I?
okay.
River
Uh,
versus the night going on. Oh, 30 Adams Road.
Yeah, so Mark, when he went by the RDA lot,
Mhm.
said that there was a possible violation at 30 Adams Road, unpermitted clearing in the buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland and bank. So I just drove out there and it is, let me share my screen. I'll bring up the arc map screenshot. So on the right hand side of the screenshot is the RDA 001 Adams Road.
Mhm.
So this is just across Adams Road, and the parcel is in pink.
Okay.
And so you can see this is like wetland, stream, flood area. And this is a 2019 aerial photo. So,
Do you have the 2023 by any chance? Or
well, I have so much for you.
oh, good, okay.
This
I
is
figured you have all the ArcGIS figures. You're
Well,
like,
I actually don't have a 2023 for this, but I got really like into Google Street View. And
ooh.
this is 2022.
By the way, I'm looking at the 2023 ortho and it looks the same as 2000. There's like nothing
Okay.
to see. So
Yeah, so like, I mean, I don't even know where I should start, but like basically this is 2022. This is in that side road that goes to like a little trailer park situation. So you can see they like cut and wood chipped what they cut. And it's basically like a porta potty storage lot.
Weird.
Okay.
So it looks a little different now, like there's a shed here. And so this fence is brand new. This is as of 2022. So like what I learned is that anything after 2 years, you can't do an enforcement order on.
Oh, yeah, and
So
it does
this
look,
is-
now that I'm looking at the orthos, it does look like it expanded a lot just in the last couple of years, so.
Yeah, so like all this clearing, so this is 2019, so see there's all these trees.
Yeah,
Like that, the fence isn't there, so they cut all those trees down. They cut everything down here.
is that true that we can't do anything if it's over 2 years, if it's just a buffer zone? Because I don't think that's true if it's a resource area. Why would that be true if it's just a buffer zone?
I did let's see, MAC handbook. In accordance with that section, enforcement actions under the Wetland Protection Act must begin within 2 years after the violation.
I've never heard of that before. You must have done something in the last 2 years.
Well, so let me let me bring up my site visit.
Oh, they've done a lot since 21.
They've done a ton. Like, okay, so
Is it a business or? It's not-
yeah, I
it's a
think
business.
it's like a porta potty.
So is
like,
it is it in the industrial
Industrial.
park? Okay. So
Well,
can-
it's in the
or-
area.
It's in the
That area.
zone,
It's
yeah.
across from what I would consider.
I
the park
wanted
part.
I didn't want to start at this end of the photos, but basically they just have this like berm of stuff. And this is going towards Route 2. Like I'm like driving towards Route 2. See, there's the berm. This is like the far end of the property, and we're headed towards the wetlands. So now we're like in the woods past that berm. There's like piles, like they have like piles in the woods. And here's another pile over here. So there's the pile, there's a pile.
Is it yard waste, or do you think that it could be something nefarious?
I don't know what it is. Like that's
Oh, you mean like they're
like
dumping their,
this is the pile. You know, it's like
oh, man.
I don't, oh God, like sewage?
Like
Is that what you're
The
saying?
porta
Oh,
potties, is that what
gosh.
you're thinking?
That's where my mind went.
So bottom line is we want to issue an enforcement immediately if we have any legal traction.
Yeah, so then
This,
here's
yeah.
the wetlands. You know, this is the little river thing that goes under the road, and there's a pile.
Yeah.
But it's like who knows how long
Right.
those piles have been there. So how do you
Well, the clearing looks like, just based on the aerial imagery, you look at the 2021 aerials versus the 2023 aerials, and they're really different. I just don't know if it's in buffer zone or resource area.
well, because
That's the
that's
one
why I was thinking
3
the
years.
2022
Street view.
Street View is like clutch because
Yeah.
that's 2019. So because this is 2.5 years ago, right? Summer
Right.
2022, winter 2025. And there's a ton of clearing, like there's nothing there.
Yeah. So what happened, so if I'm looking at the 2021 aerials and it's pretty forested, and you said the 2019 one's pretty forested, but then the 2022 one's all open, it happened somewhere between 2021 and 2022.
Which is well outside that 2-year window.
But if they're still doing stuff in there, they're still continuing to expand, they're continuing to dump, they might not know about that stipulation, we still could scare them.
Yeah, I feel like saying like we're watching you
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
be like helpful. So all right, so I just want to bring your attention to this particular photo because there's wood chips here. This is like, you know, the northwestern part of the property, kind of that little like L section of the aerial. So just keep that in mind, and we'll go back to my visit. I might have to scroll.
By the way, that L section is all within the 100 foot and the 200-foot riverfront. So 100-foot buffer zone to BVW and the 200-foot riverfront area.
Yeah, so here we go.
Yeah.
So see, like they put these sheds there. Those weren't there before. And then
Yeah.
there's also these like piles of logs. So here's the wood chip berm under the snow. And then there's all these logs. So it's like like it feels fresher, but I couldn't quite identify what trees would be missing from when, the 2022 Google view.
Well, is the onus on us to determine that? I think it's on them. If we say, we notice you've been doing unpermitted work within our jurisdiction, can you please provide us with a explanation? Come before us before X date and present to us your reasoning. We don't have to say like, well, if it's only been within the last whatever, that's all we
Yeah.
can do. I mean, just say, you got some splaining to do. What's up? Like you're in riverfront, you're in buffer zone, you're continuing to expand. Were you going to come before us? Can you please present to us what you're doing? Something like that. I mean, not a cease and desist, but, not an enforcement issue, but just like, you're working in our jurisdiction without coming before us. What's going on? And then give them like a firm date that they should come before us. Does that make sense? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that seems like a good first step. And then they'll have to give us some kind of explanation. From there, we might ask them to do a delineation. We want to then get a sense of what's already been affected and then figure out what kind of remediation or what kind of, agreement we can come to with them.
But
And stop any further activity.
I bet they don't even know. And they
They probably don't.
they're just expanding and they, this would probably be the first step to letting them know that you actually can't just do that.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, because they've been like doing a lot for many years now and no one said anything. Yeah, so that's that. So okay, I'll draft up a letter and figure out the owner and mail it off.
It's not even a big parcel. It's 1.69 acres.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
makes me crazy. Well, good find, Mark. Thanks for letting us know.
Mhm.
Sure. Okay.
All right, so that's it for new business. And we've already tackled Lampblack Road, which brings us to land donation, parcels R37-53-0 and R37-54-0. Richard and Gloria Easton wish to donate these two parcels to the city of Greenfield for conservation purposes. Commission to vote on whether to accept the parcels into conservation. I feel like we're ready for this one, right?
Yeah. This is a happy moment.
Good. Okay, so a motion to accept the donation of parcels R37-53-0 and R37-54-0 from Richard and Gloria Easton.
Second.
I wanted to second, but I didn't do the sidewalk, so I was letting you guys do it.
All right, Emily?
Aye.
Right. Kristen?
Aye.
Erica?
Aye.
I am also an aye. Land acquired.
Great
Oh,
news.
so well
No,
now
no,
now
yeah,
it will
now
go.
what?
Just say,
Now it will go to city council.
Ah.
And then they vote, and that vote will likely be in March.
Okay.
But there's
Did-
one more vote because that's just for the Eastons.
Right, and then we gotta talk about the gollies here.
before you, but did you, were you gonna send something to the mayor explaining like why we wanted it or something?
I was, and then I told Eric that's what I was doing, and at the end of my workday, and then the next day I came in and the mayor had already said that she supported, like it just so
Oh,
happened
okay.
that she was like, oh, I
Oh,
support
we don't
it.
want it? and-
And so he's like, you don't have to send the letter, 'cause she already said that,
Okay.
and
Right on.
yeah,
Oh, cool,
so
okay,
we bypassed that
okay.
step.
So we don't have to
Nice.
deal
Probably because she walked it and fell in love with it.
Yeah, I do think the site visit was impactful for her.
Good.
We saved you some work time, Jessica. There we go. Efficiency.
Oh, yeah, I know. I feel like I called it in. I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. And then it's like, no, you don't need to do it.
Okay, so land donation, parcel R37-57-0, Randall Gawley wishes to donate this parcel to the city of Greenfield for conservation purposes. Commission to vote on whether to accept this parcel into conservation. Can I get a motion?
Also move. Could you hear me? I'll make a motion
Yeah,
to that
I heard
effect.
you. I'm waiting for Kristen to say something.
I'll second that. I was letting you guys run the show because I didn't walk it. I had a meeting that day. Yeah, I'm excited about this. I'll second that all day.
All right, so vote. Emily,
Aye.
Kristen,
Hi.
Erica.
Aye.
I am also an aye. Okay. Right on. Okay, so we have up next priority parcels map.
Yeah, so I wanted to update you guys. I had a meeting with the Open Space Task Force to discuss the mapping project of mapping priority parcels for conservation. And it's the project that Mitchell had started. It came up when I first got the job, and Jonah, I believe it's Jonah, right? Reached out and introduced himself and was talking to me about the project. And so I was like, sure, yeah, let's do this. It's going to be great. I'm excited. And so I joined the meeting, and I had like misunderstood kind of like my role. I thought I was supporting him with this project, but what I came to realize is that it's more under the umbrella of the Conservation Commission, and that those Open Space Task Forces is helping kind of be supportive of executing the open space plan. And anyway, so the meeting was good, and we talked about different kind of data to consider when setting priorities and how to weight different different priorities that are important when wanting to conserve land. And so we did talk about using kind of having more a few different map categories. One would be more kind of environmental habitat based, one would be more environmental justice based, and then maybe having like a grand map where they all kind of interacted to see how that affected priority parcels. But it's still in the very beginning stages of understanding, what is the data we even want in these maps, and then at that point, how would we rate or weight that data? So anyway, I just wanted to update you that meeting happened, and that project is slowly moving forward, and I'm squeezing it into nooks and crannies as it comes up in my schedule, which sometimes I have more, sometimes I have less. So.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Okay.
Thanks for attending that, Jessica. It definitely didn't want to feel like it was flipping it back into your lap. But that's one of the interesting lines this task force is walking, where we're working with, the other departments and boards to help nudge the plan into reality. And so we're trying to figure out whose primary responsibility or initiative does each of these priorities that we're working on fall under, and then how can we support, how can we, what are the collaborations that need to be formed or that can be formed to provide all of us, the energy to do that. So we really recognize, your capacity limits, but obviously your position, and working with the Conservation Commission will be really critical. And it's great too that this was something that there has been interest on the part of the commission in the past, so that we can sort of lend our efforts. And then also bring in other partners like the meeting before, we had one of the land, the land protection specialist from FLT, Franklin Lantress, come in. And then I think at the next meeting, we're hoping to have someone from Mount Grace. So if any of you are interested in attending, feel free. Not that you need another meeting on your calendar, but it is open to the public. And obviously, as members of the Conservation Commission, you're very welcome, and I feel like what some of the to-dos that we gave ourselves about this were to really come up with that criterion list. And then we can sort of look at how would we weight these, what are the priorities that we're looking at. And something that I'm pretty excited about is the opportunity we have to do this mapping and then do consultation with other entities, like looking at the environmental justice, whatever the entities in town are that are looking at housing opportunities. So many times the interests for land use end up being at loggerheads. We have opportunities to make sure that we're considering each thing and putting each in its place. That's what came up on that walk with the mayor. Her first idea, was to say, okay, you need to eliminate this as an opportunity for housing because that's a crisis right now. And so we talked to her about it, and all of us together came to, a sort of consensus that this wasn't an ideal property. So I love the idea of us being able to look at all those criteria and then see what the town needs are, see what natural opportunities are for preservation, and then also to see how we can support the needs of the community.
Are the meetings virtual or in person?
They're hybrid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you shoot it the date of the next meeting or whatever?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a transition about what date it is, but yeah, I will definitely let you know when the next one is. And yeah, if you want to pop in, feel free. And also, I can also alert you if we're working on something. And our goal also is to have the main meetings be sort of coordinating efforts that are going on so that there's work, maybe subcommittees or, additional. So we'll see what form that takes in terms of this priority process.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, let's see. Enforcement updates here. What have we got? 637 Coleraine Road, are these old and on
They're
the, just on the?
old.
Okay.
I did want to update you on one of the, oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
Oh, I mean, if those enforcement dates are been on there as old and there's no updates, we can move past those.
Yes.
Okay.
So the project monitoring.
Yes. List of active, order of conditions. What are we? Oh, I
Well,
see.
this is just the ongoing list
Mhm.
of active NOIs, but I've been reaching out to everybody to introduce myself because Mitchell's been their contact for most all of these. And trying to see where Mitch left off and, pick up, pass the baton basically. And so for 1245 Bernardston Road, it's a solar development project. Mitch was waiting on the SWIP plan and inspection reports, and I got them.
Okay.
And I filed them. So that was one of the conditions.
Okay.
Is that we had the inspection reports. So we have monthly reports dating back to last summer that are saved in the folder for you guys.
Excellent.
And I'm going to do a site visit. They finished all the civic parts of the plan and they're starting on electrical. That's what they told me. And I'm going to do a site visit when there's less snow.
Gotcha.
So I don't know what that's going to be. But that is the update on that project.
Oh, great. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other updates on any of these?
No, not any significant ones like that.
Okay.
The 384 Deerfield, I did do the pre-construction site visit
Mhm.
and that went well. And they're doing demoing, and I'm gonna go again before they start like actual digging. Because right now they're just demoing.
All right, do we have anything else? Don't see anything on the agenda. So barring any comments from the rest of the commission? Can we get a motion?
I will motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all right. Emily,
Aye.
Kristen,
Aye.
Erica.
Aye.
I am also an aye. Meeting is adjourned. We will meet again February 25th, 2025 at 6:30 PM.